Okay, all right. Evening, everybody, and thank you for coming. I'm Kate Bauer-Burke, and we are going to be starting the Beach Advisory Committee meeting. I do have three members who I believe are going to, or couldn't be here tonight, three members of the committee, and I want to make sure that they are in by Zoom because we have to be able to see them and hear them in order to make sure that they are part of the forum.
Hear them's a critical piece. Seeing them is optional.
All right.
According to Lori, that was not.
Yeah.
What's
But that's
I
okay.
got Carol, Chaz, and who's the other one?
Pam. No,
You
Pam
see
yet.
her there?
Pam's a can't see, no.
Pam, if
This
you're
is-
online, raise your hand so that they can see you.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We got you, Chaz.
Got you, Chaz.
Carol's here.
Hi, Carol.
Okay.
Hi.
I don't
Hi.
see Pam, though.
Okay, well, something may have come up from her
Yep.
back down. Okay, for the record, I'm going to go through again and ask us, including the people on Zoom, to identify themselves and let us know who's here so we make sure we have a quorum for this evening.
Yep. John Dykstra, Select Board Rep.
Holly Mudd.
Kate Bauer-Burke,
Bill Yunker?
Carol and
Yep.
Chaz.
Carol Sherman.
And Chas Cadwell.
Okay, and you can all hear us clearly, so we've got a quorum and we're ready to go. So officially, we are now called to order at just after 6 o'clock. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from the August meeting, and does anybody have any comments, changes, questions to the minutes the drafts that were passed around to us?
Move we pass the minutes.
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Pat? Aye. Carol?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Now we'll move on to the portion of the meeting where we invite anybody here or out in Zoom land that has some comments they want to make or questions they want to bring up on items that are not already on the agenda and that we'll be addressing later. Now's the time.
I have no hands raised.
No hands raised? Okay, so we'll assume no issues.
That's a bold assumption.
Well, and even no issues they're bringing up tonight, so we'll settle for that. So let's move on to the committee reports. Chaz, can you give us public
Sure.
safety?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, since we met in August, the intersection of Dyke Road and Mills Road has been the main topic. I reported at the last meeting that the town was going to increase the traffic signs and warning signs to try to calm traffic at that intersection because we're worried about a couple of accidents we've had in just the high speeds. And so the town has added some stop signs, some stop bars and stop aheads painted on the road. And they've communicated with the Maine DOT, which has responsibility for Mills Road, about the change location of the slow down speed signs, and then the issue of the pilot program to test some other traffic calming measures. And that takes some more time. Our town engineer has been in touch with them. That was the good part of the Dyke Road, Mills Road topic. More worrisome is September 7th, we had a street takeover sometime around midnight into Sunday morning where I wasn't there, I haven't seen the details, but people blocked off the road and set off fireworks and drag racing or leaving lots of dramatic tire marks on our road. We're not alone. This has been happening in York County and other counties in Maine, and I know from my brother in places in Massachusetts. But the challenge is that by the time police come, of course, there's nobody around, and so it's very difficult to go after these things. It's a little bit like fireworks problems. You know, by the time the police get called, whoever's been doing things is long gone. So I haven't had an update from Chief Simeone since I talked with him sometime last week, but that's where all the action at Goose Rock seems to be. I also asked him about how the summer had gone for the CSOs, and he reports that they had, the usual things with dogs on the beach, people on the seawall, or and parking issues. So I asked him a more direct question: did the CSOs have to call the cops, so to speak, to get help enforcing things? And I guess there were a couple of instances, but this problem of having people report things long after the fact, again, is a limitation on what the CSOs can do in conjunction with the police by the time somebody gets over to the beach. But it was no major incidents, I don't think. And I have not spoken to the CSOs myself. That was his report. And I think that's all I've got. I want to, over the next few months when we're not at the beach so much, talk about how we can communicate some of these issues better with our neighbors and others in the community. But that's something we can work on between now and next summer. That's all I've got. Happy to have any questions or comments.
Thanks, Chaz. I think you said some of the things that might happen that they've looked into in terms of the Dyke Road, Mills Road exit or intersection. Those are things that are still in process and might be there, might be changed, or some changes might be ready by next summer if they're going to happen.
Well, at the select board meeting in August, or the one before I left town, they adopted a series of recommendations about the signage. The ones they could do as a town, they've done. The ones that the state has to do, we have to negotiate with. And then the third one they adopted was to, I forget the technical name, but it's basically a soft start of a more dramatic traffic calming measure with a traffic island of some sort and a left turn lane or something, maybe in both directions on Mills Road. But that all requires lots of work with the state highway engineers, and probably takes a year and some special funding to get organized to do. And then if they do that, and if it is successful in slowing traffic, then the second step would be to do things to make it more permanent with an actual traffic island of some sort. But that's down the road, and I'm not sure what the standards are for deciding if something's successful or not. In my mind, it's sort of like what Biddeford has done up near the university. It's, if you want to go 55 through there, you can, but there's traffic island and signage, and occasionally I see a squad car there.
Yeah, one thing I like very much about up at Biddeford near UNE is, of course, they've got, I don't think we have this at that intersection, crosswalks, and blessedly have those flashing signs. I mean, the yield to pedestrian signs is not just there,
Yep.
It's actually lit up and the kids can press a button and it flashes, because that gets my attention when I go by. I don't really want to run over a college student, and sometimes, you don't notice them as they're getting ready to step out onto the street. So I don't know how much things like that cost. We don't have that
Well,
much pedestrian
Maybe
traffic.
some college students should want to run over, but probably shouldn't.
Maybe that's where we got the street gathering in part from. I hope not. I doubt it.
But as you may remember, there was a bicycle accident at Mills
Yeah.
Road and Dyke Road right at the end of the summer that nobody was hurt seriously, but it's just the mix of pedestrians, bicycles, cars, and speeding cars is just scary as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed several times, because I come up onto Mills Road right by the firehouse, and, I am tootling along. I haven't really picked up full speed at that point, because it's not like I've been traveling 55 all the way down. But I have noticed many times that somebody will come out from Dyke Road and cross a little too, decide, oh, I'll go ahead and cross ahead of this car coming, a little too close. But I don't know.
We all have different risk tolerance. The other thing that I think we can work with is over the winter is to get the timing of the extra speed signage and that sort of thing for the next summer scheduled on, so it's there from the very beginning of the summer.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. Anybody in the audience have any questions about that or suggestions?
The new signs are up.
Oh, the new signs are up.
The speed limit sign of 45 has now been put up.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, Kate, there's other people, I know people have been worried about some speeding on the back streets at Goose Rocks too. I forget the names of the streets, but so I think one thing I want to pay attention to is the consistency of signage around the neighborhood.
Okay. I know a lot of people are putting up the signs you can pick up from, I don't know where, the police station or what, the no need to speed signs, which,
Town Hall.
Town Hall, thank you. I would love to put one in front of our house as people come tooling around.
They have them in the town hall and they have them at the police station, depending if you're there.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, it's time to move on to natural resources.
Okay, I don't really have anything except for the fact that we're doing, the Rotary Club of Kennebunkport is doing their beach cleanup this Saturday. If anyone's interested, I checked with Charlie Coleman, who's our coordinator, and he said he already has 20-plus people on the list, so there's actually a lot of people that are willing to help.
Great.
The Rotary Club meets at my house at 8:30, and then we spread out on the beach.
Okay.
Good.
What was that?
Go ahead.
There's somebody outside.
And Corby?
Okay, let me let Bill continue and
Okay.
then we'll go back to.
Okay, so if anyone wants to help, we're gonna try and take the stake and twine down, and if anyone would be interested in helping with that, we're gonna meet at the store around 9:15.
Excellent.
I'll have stuff, and we'll try and figure out if we should take it all down, or maybe leave some along the major right-of-ways, just to keep the foot traffic out in that
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
I would suggest that.
Yep.
Yeah, as you pointed out, there's a lot more people visiting the beach, given this beautiful weather, and, more so than we've seen perhaps other years at this time.
That's my opinion this year. I mean,
Yeah.
I expected it yesterday, but I didn't expect it today.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very busy, so.
Okay, so that's this Saturday, the
Yep.
21st.
Yep.
Great, and Carol, do you have anything to add from the standpoint of plovers? Any
No.
final report?
They're gone.
They're fledged and left.
Yep, they left town.
They're flying south.
I read
Yeah.
something, though, that, while we were down in some regards, apparently I think we fledged more, not we particularly at Goose Rocks, but the state in full had fledged more chicks this year.
And we fledged more at Goose Rocks,
Yeah,
our best year ever.
oh, that's great.
It was wonderful.
Wonderful. Let me go to Ann Corby, did you say, has her hand raised? Ann?
Can you hear me?
Sure.
I want to raise the issue of Bellwood and Wildwood in the corner there. I sent John a picture that I took last Saturday at 1 o'clock of a trolley, an empty trolley with just a driver parked there for quite a long time. And then a landscaper with a trailer was parked also. And that corner is very, very narrow. And it seems to me that trolley, I think it was seen by other people parked in other areas. I think he left when I took the picture. He saw me photograph him. But it seems to me if the trolley is delivering people to, for example, the inn or any place, that the trolley ought to park at that spot, not on a place where there's always already a traffic issue. The other thing about traffic that I want to suggest is putting speed bumps, for example, on Bellwood, maybe on Dyke Road. They seem to work at Biddeford Pool. They're easy to put down and take up again so that we could just use them during tourist season and then pull them up when the issue isn't so dire.
Okay, I understand. I mean, we use them on New Bedford Road, put them down in the spring or in time for the visitor season and take them up, and I think they probably help. We use them back on the, quote, private roads that everybody uses. They're not as extensive as the ones on New Bedford, but, as homeowners back there, we've been paying for them, putting them down every year, taking them back up, and they help a little bit. I mean, I certainly slow down and not want the undercarriage of my car to get damaged. John, do you know on the trolley issue, is the trolley something that should be touring through here or delivering people, or it was
We're-
van size?
That's something that it's being looked at.
Is being
So,
looked
yeah,
at.
And that's gonna be I'll bring it up when we talk about the parking issue.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you. Thanks,
Okay, so
Ann.
Kate, if I could just assure Ann that I've got a traffic committee of a traffic engineer and somebody else who helped me think about these issues, and we'll add this challenge to our list.
Yeah, I somehow think we've looked once before at the question of speed bumps on Dyke Road. I think that may have been looked at once before, I don't know, I
I'm
can't
sure it's come
remember
up, but
why, but
the
it's certainly with
town
the
highway
increased.
people may have a view.
Yeah, and certainly with the increased number of traffic and visitors and whatever, maybe that's something that the Public Safety Committee could look at again. Thank you.
I think Ann wants another question.
Go ahead, Ann.
No, I just wanted to say thank you.
Okay.
Nothing big.
Well, thank you.
No new big insight.
Well, thank you very much for bringing some comments to us. All done with natural resources, right? And everybody that wants to come out and help take down stake and twine out there, please do so. And again, looks like we're going to have beautiful weather on Saturday. Perfect day to be out on the beach helping out. Communications.
I don't have anything. I don't have any reports.
Okay, sounds good. Old business? Do we have any? I'm sure
Well-
we do.
Thanks, parking, I think all those
Yeah,
are
I think
under
all the
old
what-
business. Parking and trash are under old business.
Okay, but there's nothing, no new information on our usual old business
No.
question of commercial
No,
activity?
nothing on the tides. Things are still in the
In pro-
process.
Okay,
The wheels of legal grind slowly.
okay, thank you. All right. John, do you want to address the parking?
Yeah, on parking, there's been an issue that has been brought up at the last meeting with the concern about what appear to be, and there are, contradictions in what are parking established by an interpretation of the beach ordinance and those that are established by the town. So one does supersede the other, but exactly how those are to be enforced, where it occurs, these are all issues that really have never been totally thought through. So we're going to put together a group of us this winter to sit and just take a fine-tooth comb to this and straighten out the errant hairs and understand and make a proposal as to how we can rectify the two different sets of codes. So that's a process that'll occur in the winter months. And along with that, Ann's concern about trolleys, where they're parking, how they're parking, it ties some into the town and some into the tides issue, and that'll be something that'll be looked at the same time.
Okay.
So that's where we are on parking.
And John, just to clarify, I know the issues that have more recently come up regard to parking on the back roads, I think, but there's also the issue, you gave us some interesting information about parking along Kings Highway on the overnight side rather than, that's also going to be under consideration over the,
Yeah, that's going to be that part of parking and also looking at ways that we might work to increase the potential of town folk that don't live on the beach to find parking even during the summer months to be able to enjoy the beach. And that's been a real thrust of mine of how we can enable that. And there are a lot of trade-offs, both economically and just logistically, so that will also be in the mix.
okay,
Yep.
great. Any questions or comments from anybody on the whole issue of Pat? Can, we have to do this procedurally for the electronics here.
Thanks. Pat Souza, 19 Crescent Ave. Just a question, John. You said we, like, is there a committee?
There'll be a group of us. Right now, it is Paul, Kate, and myself, but we would certainly invite others if they wanted to participate.
Okay.
Yeah,
And who would we contact?
contact me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had another thought just before what you were just mentioning. I just already lost it.
That's
Goodness.
okay, it'll come back. It always does for me.
Actually, on the parking also,
Yeah.
there are certain parking spots that I think on Kings Highway really shouldn't be parking spots because it becomes dangerous to make corners, certain corners, turns onto some streets. Might be something that you might also want to look at while you're looking at parking.
Send me those spots you
Yeah,
think are
like
of
just
concern.
turning right onto the
Bellwood,
Bellwood.
the
That
one,
one.
Yeah.
in front
It's
of,
a single.
in front of Pingree's old house.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
parking spot there
There's
that's
one
really in the
spot.
way.
I mean, you can't,
Huh.
you have to stop
You can't
if
get out.
someone's coming towards
That
you.
was, and that's not since the construction. The construction certainly made that difficult there.
No, this
No.
has always been a parking
It
spot.
always
Oh, I
has
know it
been.
has, but I've never found it difficult, but you're saying
Oh,
it
it is
was.
It's hard
difficult.
when someone's pulling out of Bellwood,
Yeah.
you can't come the other
Or if you
way.
got a big truck coming towards you.
Well, no, you can't even,
Yeah,
if you're
it's
driving the
hard.
other way and someone
You
starts to
just-
pull out, you have to stop.
It's like too
Yeah.
close to the corner.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, just, there may be other things that you might want to put into that parking
Sure, sure.
talk. That's all.
Oh, that's a good thought.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
And I would think if we eliminate, since the number is set by the beach use agreement, I would think that if we had to eliminate something on Kings Highway, you could maybe add a spot or two on Dyke Road too, so that the
It
number
would need-
stayed the
The
same.
number has to stay the same.
Right,
so
that's what
it
I'm
would-
saying,
It would
so,
move, but
yeah.
that's fair. Yep,
But that doesn't mean it can't be moved around a little bit.
That's
because
correct.
As we find
that's
a
correct.
safety issue or.
That's correct.
I know I find in many cases going up, the things that are considered legitimate parking spaces going up New Bedford Road. Some people, if they don't want to be practically parking in the middle of people's lawns, they're sticking out quite a ways into New Bedford Road
Yeah.
to the northbound,
It
whatever
is,
that's.
it is an
And it's
issue.
just, all of these roads are not wide
Well,
roads and.
that's the whole point.
Yeah,
These
this
roads
is
are
something-
narrow, and it's a matter of how much of a problem it is before you need to start shuffling things,
Right.
so.
Make Kings Highway
It's-
one way.
it's just
towards
a,
Bedford- Towards Bedford
Just a
Road.
gen- It
From
wouldn't,
Bellwood.
it wouldn't help Pingry's spot.
No,
Yeah, so we'll.
help traffic though.
Yeah, but it would
something
increase
everybody
it
will-
wildly on Wildwood, and that's not acceptable. So I just, the trade-offs, it's real easy to say, make it one way, and then, it's, but it doesn't, let's go, yeah.
Well, we've got an interesting issues to look at over the winter.
Yeah.
Be ready for next summer, because this area is only getting busier, more heavily trafficked, more full of pedestrians and kids on bikes, and we want to make,
True,
at least
true.
for the summer months, make sure we come to the best possible solutions
True,
to
true.
our limited parking capabilities, so,
True.
great.
Carol has a question, I guess.
Carol?
Years ago, there used to be 2 parking spaces there by the Pingree's house.
That's right.
And one was taken away. And this is just for a little bit of history. Our former manager said, when we discussed taking it away, that he liked it there because it made the traffic slow down, because people tear around the corner in Dyke Road and Kings Highway, but when they come there, they'd have to slow down. I'm just passing on that information,
Okay,
just to think about.
There's always two sides to the coin.
yeah.
Exactly.
And Ann has a question. That's her hand up.
Ann?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I don't know if I'm still unmuted or not. I would really object to making Kings Highway one way. That would put even more pressure on Wildwood. We have so many trucks and vehicles. The vans from Hidden Pond go by every 20 minutes. And we have my kids aren't on bikes anymore, but a lot of people still have kids on bikes on this road. It's terrible. And again, that curve from Bellwood around Wildwood and Bellwood itself is a huge problem. We measured Bellwood. It's 19 feet wide. That's not very wide to handle the kind of traffic that corner gets. When I leave the beach, my house is the third house in from Bellwood, so I see it all. But when I leave the beach, just getting around the Bellwood corner, turning and then getting through Dyke Road, sometimes it takes me 15 minutes to get to Route 9 in the summertime. It's the biggest point is that it's hazardous. Somebody is going to get hurt. I saw a little boy flip off, happily he had a helmet on, off a scooter, getting out of the way of 2 cars trying to pass each other this summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you very much, Ann. Okay, we know we got a problem and we know we have to look at it, and we will take careful look at it over the winter and see the best we can do for this difficult situation. John, do you want to move on to trash?
Sure.
Update there.
There really isn't, nothing new to report. I'm open for questions.
Well, I think the one thing we probably thought we would come back to about this time or at the next meeting as we get ready for the trash changes, one of the things we did this summer was with the signage efforts on the existing trash barrels,
Yeah.
try and solve the problem we've had for many years of people just leaving trash outside of the trash barrels, whatever didn't fit in or such like that, which we know we're not going to be able to handle. The robotic arm methodology for next summer is simply not going to be able to handle that. And the alternative, we thought, was either we take away all trash barrels and it will be a carry-in, carry-out. But instead, we said the first thing to try is see if we can educate the public, get them to stop doing that sort of stuff. So we, thanks to Fred Stafford, who designed those wonderful stickers that are now on all the trash barrels. And in addition, some education pieces that have gone out, postings and things that we've sent to the various realtors to send out. The town sent out an explanation about this situation to all the short-term rental license holders to try and get the information across. And believe it or not, I actually got in the habit of getting up early and taking my dog for a beach before the 9 o'clock deadline. So I had a chance every day to check out what the trash barrels looked like. And my personal experience was it was pretty bad at the beginning of the summer. I mean, clearly, 4th of July week was pretty much disastrous. There was trash around every single one of the trash barrels. I checked the whole length of the beach. It got better, I will say. I don't know whether that's because people actually did try or because, of course, that's the most crowded, most busy summer week. And as we got farther into the summer, it got a little bit better. I would say recently, things were looking halfway good. And particularly with the larger barrels or the bigger mouth barrels, maybe we would be able to live with it. But I think that's a decision that isn't certainly made yet, but it needs to be discussed further, whether we...
As I understand it, we're going to we will have the barrels there in the
Right.
beginning of the summer.
Right.
The decision will be made by how much stuff is left outside
Right.
the barrels. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just where we are. But that-
Right.
So
Well, maybe-
John, oh,
I
sorry.
was just going to say, is there any possibility that at particularly egregiously busy times of the year, we could put either additional barrels out? Would that be totally outside of the contract?
Yeah.
Okay, that's an easy answer.
Chaz has his hand up.
I had my hand up for the same question that Kate asked.
Yeah, no, we're contracted for a certain number of barrels, and that's all that will be picked up.
Right, but we may have contracted for the wrong number of barrels, I guess, is the suggestion.
And are those going to be the 64 gallon?
96.
96, okay. The flip top it could even manage to put a reasonable sized beach chair, because that's what we
Put a
find
small
lot
boat in it, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, maybe somebody will try.
they're gonna be tall, too.
Yeah, if we could, yeah.
They're gonna be high.
Oh, that's good, that's good.
Well, they're not, they're not like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, I'm glad to hear that.
But it's, yeah, I don't know, Chaz, too, it's just overkill. It's an interesting thought, but, and that wouldn't be impossible to look at, I guess.
Because
Especially Jeffries.
if we try to, carry in, bring home, we're going to have some slippage on that too. And so and we haven't experimented with either. So, it's going to take some time for us to figure out, I think.
Yep,
Yep, I agree. I think it would be an education process even on the carry-in, carry-out,
yep.
based on the experience of other towns that have gone that way, or places like national parks and stuff, state parks that use that. So, but at least as of now, we think we're going to put the same wonderful information out, nothing outside, and see how we do. Hopefully, we'll do better. Okay.
So there was a question last month about recycling, both at the public and also for homeowners. Whether that's is that a separate barrel? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, there will not be a separate recycling barrel at the beaches. The public barrels are a single barrel. That's going to be mixed. But for every resident, they'll be delivered two containers, two bins. One will have I don't know if we're using blue or green, but it will have a different color lid that will identify it as the recycling barrel. And then the other, obviously, the trash. And folks can put recycling in the trash, but we can't put trash in the recycling barrel. So that's how it's going to be. Everyone will be delivered a 64-gallon barrel. There will be an option after about a month, if you find that you cannot manage or live with that, there will be a limited number of 34 gallons and 96 gallons. Folks can swap out to have a smaller or a larger. We're hoping that's going to be a small number. We only have a certain number of them available. And we think as people start to use the 64s, it's been Casella's experience that, I mean, they really work pretty well. The biggest issue is the size, and just, you're used to having smaller, but many people would have 5 or 6 smaller. Now you have, you know, the one larger.
But they are
Yeah.
on wheels.
They are on wheels, they pivot, they roll nicely.
John, just a quick question. These barrel, at 64, I'm trying to picture what it is in relation to what we've got now.
You drive down
they-
Biddeford, anything you do in Kennebunk?
In Kennebunk, or this, that's the
Yeah,
64?
well, Biddeford's actually got the smaller ones because they're still doing it manually.
Okay.
So don't think Biddeford, think Kennebunk. And it's that standard, when you
Okay.
think of a flip-top size, 98% of them you see are 64
Okay,
gallons. That's the
good.
size.
I was
Yeah.
more concerned about,
Yeah.
where can I fit it in my garage?
Yeah.
It's much bigger.
Yeah.
That's exactly the
Yeah,
same
the
size we
96
have
is a
now.
big barrel.
I'll bet.
But for folks that have a lot of recycling or, you know, did fill numerous trash 32s, then, you know, the 64 is going to be an option for them, or 96.
And one question I was asked too is, basically, if you are now having Casella come and stop in front of your house, or wherever Casella now picks up your trash, will still be where Casella will
Correct.
pick up your trash?
Correct.
Because people wondered about.
Correct. There's no intent in changing that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Good.
If you need to carry your trash to a point, that will still remain so. If your trash is picked up at your curbside, that will also remain so.
Yeah, I think somebody was on an unpaved road, and while they were having house pickup now, they thought maybe that would change, and I'm glad to
Yeah,
hear that.
well, the larger truck, you know, I should be a little bit careful. I say that you know, there may be a situation where the truck wouldn't be able to do it, but Casella's been very cooperative in trying to work that out. And if those do exist, they're going to be very rare.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you. Do we have any questions here or out in, as I call it, Zoom land? Okay. Well, we may have a new world record on shortness of
Well, we
meetings.
got some new business.
We do?
Yeah, well, just one little piece, just to say that we have submitted the FEMA proposal. I guess it's an old business update, but the proposal has been submitted, and we really don't know what the turnaround time's going to be, but we have to get it planted, the dune grass planted before the middle of November, and it's going to take 2 weeks to do it, so
Whoa.
we're hoping to have approval by FEMA before the end of October.
Wow.
So Halloween is the witching date.
Whoa.
So keep our fingers crossed. I think we've got a great proposal. Everyone has been, there've been no major questions yet, but, you know, knock on wood, we'll see.
And thank you for all your work on that. That was a
It was fun
crash
stuff.
course in having to learn your way
It was
through
fun stuff.
multiple government agencies
Yeah.
and forms and whatever. So, thank you. Does anybody else have anything new? Otherwise, I think, by the way, our next meeting,
November 18th.
18th, thank you.
And then hopefully there'll be dunes with grass on them.
Well, we'll be sending out,
Wouldn't that be something?
is this going to be again like we did for the wonderful dune grass?
No, that was 11,000 plugs, which was amazing. This is 58,000
Woo.
plugs. So we've actually contracted, we have contracted staff, labor to do that, to
Wonderful.
plant it. So that's part of the bid to FEMA. And fortunately, because Maine requires that you plant, it is something that FEMA will cover the cost of, both the purchase and the planting.
That's great.
So that's good news.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I think if that's, anybody, Chaz or Carol or anybody have anything? Pardon me?
No meeting in October?
No meeting in
No,
October.
we'll just- November 18th will be the next meeting. Okay,
I move we adjourn.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.